Hey, thanks for dropping by to the Planners on Purpose podcast, created by Naomi Tucker, CMP. Now, this space is for the event planners to encourage and empower you so that you can fully live your life on purpose. So before we dig in, please take a moment to subscribe so you get future shows. Now, here she comes, your host, Naomi.
Well, hi, everyone. This is Naomi, your host here on the Planners on Purpose podcast. I hope you're doing well and that you're leading a life you love. And I'm excited to be here for yet another episode. And today I wanted to talk to you about soft skills, those soft skills that every event professional should have. Now, I do have a list. It's not necessarily a conclusive list, but it's a list that really helps to showcase the skills that event planners need to have when working in the field. Soft skills are more of a set of behaviors and personality traits that you use on the daily that many people can't measure, but it's something that you have. But they are soft skills. They can be built up. They can be developed. And I wanted to go over some of those for you today. And this comes up in many different conversations. It comes up in the education space, especially in the spaces of higher education, especially delivering meeting and event management programs, hospitality courses and degrees. I've personally been involved in some of those conversations where we have employers that definitely have people that they are employing and that they're definitely see potential in. However, there ends up being some kind of disconnect, and those disconnects are always related to the soft skill. And these are things that at some point they really matter. And so if you are a new event professional that's moving into the field, or perhaps you've been here for a while and you want to tighten up on some of these soft skills, then this is a list that's going to help you to be able to do that. The first soft skill that every event planner should have is, and I'm going to put it out there, it's the ability to work long days, nights, and weekends when necessary. Yes, I put it out there. And I know I am a big proponent of preventing burnout and reducing burnout and all of those things. However, it is important to know that if you're coming into this industry, or you just got here, or maybe perhaps you've been living under a rock and you don't really know, and that's okay. This is an industry that definitely will have to put in the work, and we put in the work with long days, nights, and weekends when necessary. And the key words are when necessary. The key is not to be doing this consistently and all of the time where you're consistently and always burned out. However, if you do have an event of 300 people that you have to do, and let's say it's coming up in 5 days, well, you know what? There's going to be an increase of emails, an increase on the amount of details that you're working on in order to get things prepared for people to arrive. And this is going to require you to put in some of those long days and sometimes long nights and weekends. Now, it's one of those soft skills, and maybe it's just one of those things that you absolutely need to be able to do, and you need to be able to sustain, and you need to be able to put in the work when necessary. Okay. And it kind of can get tough with talking to it, because I have been there, and I still am there. When you're working long days, you have to be up at the crack of dawn before your client gets downstairs, because you want to be the first one up, the first one downstairs, right? Or because you want to be the first one to greet your team in the morning. And maybe that means that you're there at 6 a.m. in the morning, or sometimes even earlier, right? Or let's say you have an evening reception, and that reception goes until midnight. Many times there might be a need to stay up that long. And that's not all the time, but this really is dependent on how you're structured, how your business is structured. Not all event professionals have to work long days and long nights and weekends. It is also dependent on the type of job and role that you absolutely have. But in this industry, you have to realize that at some point in time, that may occur. And so you have to have that ability, that soft skill to sustain a long day, to sustain a long night, and to be able to work weekends whenever necessary. And that usually aligns to your event program, or if you're helping out others on their program, it would also be that you would be doing that on their program too. So for event professionals that may be coming into the industry, and I know a lot of people after COVID, people are just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to work. I don't want to work as hard as I did before, or I want to switch things up. I'm burnt out for working long days, long nights, long weekends. Totally understandable, but it is still a component of the event industry. And I would even go far to say hospitality industry, even more so. Those things are things that we have to be prepared to do, especially if it aligns with an event that we're working on, an event that we're managing. So I will get off my soapbox with that. Again, I'm not trying to say that you should be working long nights and weekends every single weekend or consistently burn yourself out with this. However, if you have to work a weekend because your event is coming up, that should not be a surprise. You should be able to move and work through that and do what you need to do in order to get the job done within that short time frame, within that time frame of your event. Okay, I'm going to move on now. So the next soft skill that every event planner should have is communication. This one is really a huge one. Being communicative in it is written skills and it's verbal skills, making sure that you can communicate in both of those. I can't tell you how many situations that may occur where you will have to demonstrate your value to a stakeholder. Perhaps you have a new COO that actually joined the team that has no idea what an event professional is and thinks that you're a party planner. How will you communicate your value? How will you educate upwards on letting that person know, here's how this is done. Here's what my value is. Here's how I can make this experience of planning this event a professional experience, right? That takes some skill. When your clients are upset and they need the answer right away on something, it could be the fact that they are needing an answer about an RFP, or they're needing an answer about some space. That takes some skill. It takes skill to communicate where you are in the process, communicate your status. Communication is so huge. And even between suppliers and event professionals, there's communication there. Ensuring that your suppliers understand the goals, understand what your clients are looking to do with their event, their budget. There's so many things that a supplier would need from an event professional. And if you are clear and you're concise and you give information ahead of time, it can make so many things easier. And when it comes to communication, a lot of things really get lost in the sauce, especially when it comes to around training, when it comes around expectations, and just the communication and the transference of details from one party to another. Many things can be missed, so making sure that you're holistic in your communication, that you communicate more often to a full team or many of your suppliers, or however you do it, just making sure everybody has the details, because they all have things they have to do to, goals they have to reach to, and also tasks that they have to complete for your event. And that is very helpful. So communication is a soft skill. How to do it right is a soft skill. Written communication is definitely a soft skill. I can't tell you how many times I've seen communication between clients, between doctors, between some event professionals and C-suite that really does not have the proper grammar, proper casing, things like that. I know it's kind of embarrassing to say, but making sure that as we're coming into this thing, we are aware of the types of communication that we need to have, and aware of all the different levels within the businesses, so that we know how to be able to put our best foot forward. And that is definitely a soft skill. It's definitely something that people look at. When you can communicate really well, that is a person that you want to make sure that is on your team, right? So communication, that's a soft skill. Patience. Patience is another soft skill that many event planners should have. And this can mean a whole bunch of things, right? It takes patience to work those long days and long nights when you know you have to put in the work for a program. It takes patience to have to get in the line, the TSA line, or whatever line it is, get to the airport at 4 a.m. in the morning for an early morning flight to fly to an event. It takes patience when your client just doesn't understand how you're coming up with the budget number that you're coming up with. It takes patience to work in this industry, and it takes a large amount of tolerance too, although I didn't put tolerance on the list, but maybe those two can be similar. It does take a lot of patience to be able to work in this industry. So finding ways in order to gain patience in your work is key, especially if you find yourself losing your patience often, because when you're losing your patience often, that can bring on stress, that can bring on burnout. We want to be able to build up our tolerance, build up our patience when working with our clients, when working with our suppliers and planner, so that we can see them through the event, right? And having patience with a team. If you're an event professional that's managing a big team and you get people on a call, on a weekly planning call, sometimes there can be a lot of communication going back and forth, and being able to rein in everyone, keep calls on task, communicate clearly key pieces of information that allows people to feel like they have what they need is definitely really cool soft skill to have. The next one, soft skill that I have for you, is initiative, taking the initiative. Most of the time with initiative, I would just say that the industry is it can be a fast-paced industry, and many times many of us are in a position where we have to be entrepreneurial. We have to have that mindset of hitting the ground running. I can't tell you how many times I've started different positions, and on the first day, I'm already doing something. And it's because things are very fast paced. So being able to pick up and go, being able to take the initiative on certain things are going to be very helpful, because what really creates the churn and creates a lot of stress can be because there's a lot of education that's needed to get people up to speed. So when there is a planner or a professional that can take the initiative and, ask questions, that's going to be very helpful to the person that is training you or to an employer that's employing you. They definitely like to see that initiative. So definitely make sure that you check to see if things are okay to do. But yes, I would just say go ahead and take that initiative in your work. It's definitely a soft skill that people want to see, especially if you're a new planner or supplier coming into this space. We have a lot of people who have been holding the line, waiting for the support and for the assistance and for the help. So they would just love someone to jump in and take some initiative in certain places within, obviously, the right context, and making sure that you're ensuring that you're not getting too much ahead of yourself, right? The next soft skill I have is personable. Being personable is a soft skill that event professionals should have. We are in positions where we have to talk with the C-level, leadership, business owners. We have seat at the table in many respects to a lot of very important people. And with that said, being personable is a soft skill. People are looking for an event professional to really be knowledgeable about certain ins and outs of an event. And it doesn't matter what type of event professional you are. You could be leading the charge and planning an event, or you could be building a website or being a coordinator or any other type of role within this industry. Being personable is something that everyone really has to adapt when it comes to being in the event profession. And that goes along with the next one, which is the service mindset. Having a service mindset is also very key. Keeping the customer in your line of sight, having a customer mindset, being customer obsessed. That is really important to the industry. And I know also this also can be something that can be a teeter-totter, right? We want to make sure that we're servicing others, but we also want to make sure that we are paying attention to ourselves and that we don't get too much into the people pleasing so that we end up forgetting about ourselves and really getting too much into burnout or getting too much into enabling. There is a balance with the service mindset, but making sure that you're definitely about ensuring that the customer gets what they need in the easiest and nicest way is very key. Don't go overboard. And then the last one that I have for you is to react under pressure. We are always in positions with event professionals that we are in an industry that we are going to get that stress. We are going to have that natural pressure that occurs around us getting events out the door. We potentially are on site where things just pop up that we have to mitigate and be able to react under pressure, be able to have a conversation when things seemingly are burning down, being able to take care of a situation if you have an emergency response situation, being able to be calm and react and follow the plan that you have set out. That is a soft skill that event professionals should have as well, because when we have people at our events and we are responsible for a group of people, we need to make sure that we are taking care of these people no matter what might occur within our group, and making sure we're set up for success and have the people on our side in order for us to be able to react seamlessly when that pressure does strike. Okay, so I wonder, do you have any others on this list that you would like to add? I definitely want to know. Go ahead and DM me on Instagram to let me know that. Otherwise, if you really enjoy this podcast and you're one of those people that says, oh my gosh, I really like this podcast, and you listen all the time, you're the person that I would love for you to go ahead and drop a comment and rate on iTunes or Spotify. Just rate and just let them know how much you enjoy this podcast. Other than that, until next time, stay on purpose.
Well, that wraps it up for this episode. If you enjoyed the conversation, hit the like button and tell us how much you enjoyed the show by leaving a message in the comments. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.